in India the scale is much different from many other countries that you know well, but it is also the pace with which the attacks or the encroachments by the omnipotent state is coming in, and the corporates joining the state or state joining the corporates, whichever way, using the British Days Act of 1894. Again, I must tell you that 100 years old displaced people, displaced by 6 dams of Tatas in the district of Pune, are fighting with us. The same act was applied to acquire their land by the British, by the Tatas or British jointly then, and the same act is used till date. But the story doesn't end there, the story begins here, because now that act is going to be amended. And why I am returning hurriedly, because from 22nd onwards we are going to be in front of the Parliament. And we have spent 1.5 months on this issue earlier after the Nandigram struggle, holding a Jana Sansad, a People's Parliament in Delhi on this issue involving 165 organizations in India 2 years ago. We are again there for 6 days from 22nd onwards, because the amendment to this act is being brought before the Parliament. And all the party, right to left, are singing the tune in favor of the amendment, more or less. But this amendment, which claims that it is for the farmers, is actually for the corporates, because they are changing the definition of the public purpose projects. While the act, according to the British, was to be used for acquisition of land only for the public purpose projects. And that was defined as the government's projects. Project for the poor, for the villagers. British did it. We have the definition here in this book. I will leave it here as a copy. And now the new definition is going to include the private projects in the definition itself as the category number 3. The first is defense projects. The second is all infrastructure projects. Education is also included in the infrastructure projects. Dams, infrastructure. Highways, expressways, megacities, ports, everything, of course. Urban development, beautification, everything is infrastructure. And the third category is any project by any person for any public use. And then the person is defined to include individuals, groups, companies, and cooperatives, of course. So, any project which is included in the public purpose project, of course the only difference is the third category projects will have to have 70% of the required land purchased, and then the rest 30% will be acquired. Now here there is a great conspiracy. If the company, the Ambanis, the Reliance, if they go to the farmer whom they ask to give consent for purchasing his or her land, if the farmer says, no, I don't want to sell it, they would say, okay, if you don't want to sell it, your land will be forcibly acquired. You will be in the rest 30% category where you will get still less. And this is what has been happening. They purchase some lands, and of course the in-between farmers who may be saying no to giving their land cannot be left out. So they will be covered. So this 70-30 design is going to help the corporates to buy the lands with even less bargaining power, and always with a threat of throwing their lands into the second category of forcible acquisition. We are opposing this because today it is 70-30, tomorrow it may be 30-70. Who stops the state from amending the laws where the amendment is taking place irreversibly in favor of the corporates? And the non-violent people's movements have stopped many projects, many such plans where we felt that the social, environmental injustice, human injustice, not just the legal violations, are very obvious. And we are proposing and propagating the alternatives in terms of course, the technological choices, which mean decentralization or ascentralization of land water management. But we are putting forth the strong message of the people's power, which is harping upon the right to resources granted to each community, whether urban or rural. And we have the whole paraphernalia and the procedure, the modus operandi already devised and put in the policy draft form. We are for also right to development planning at the community level, which will at least mean that if anyone is coming in, whether national, international, whosoever, we will have the first right, the community will have the first right to say yes or no. And even if that means no so-called development, it will at least mean no to destruction, no to such large-scale displacement, no to such vulgar disparity which is growing, although the Panchayati Raj, the local self-government is not paying results. We are therefore finding out the new political alternatives, not in terms of political parties, which also we went through thinking on and dialogues and discourses, but now a number of alliances have come together to start what is known as the People's Parliament. This November, last week, we are holding, starting large-scale People's Parliaments to be held, Jana Sansad in Hindi, which will be in the Vidarbha, where the maximum number of farmers have committed suicide and the mining is taking toll of the best of the forest. So the social, environmental, economic, political going together, and it is a part of our comprehensive framework of analysis on one hand and action on the other. We will have in January the next People's Parliament in Mumbai, where we have a strong movement of the urban poor exposing number of scams. International challenge also needs to be taken up, and I will just end with it. Because Obama's visit has indicated it all. The Obama who came and said so crudely and rudely to all of us, because we were at least hearing, we were not in his cabin, but saying that the 700,000 jobs are secured by US. It was 50,000 to begin with, and when it became 7 lakhs, we don't know. But having almost announced billions of dollars of deals, including the Ambani's gas-fired project and so on, it is very, very clear that it was totally an undemocratic kind of presentation. It was very crude way of putting forth the demand of the US citizens to the country, where giving up, reducing the trade barriers, bringing those down, or giving up outsourcing of that kind means a lot. And also their investment into the projects in India again means a lot. But without even going through the legal procedures, the president comes in and declares something. Shows that everything that he is doing also is going against the laws of the land and also the laws of natural, legal or international justice. So although we had to welcome Obama's election, saying the Bush era has ended, and we are not those who would support the Tea Party or something, but certainly there is no much hope. So the electoral politics that is going the same way and taking us to the same way, the drains, needs to be challenged, drawing a longer line than the line by this small part of the larger political domain, which is electoral politics. A few suggestions from our side would include we need continuous exchange. Although I would say all Indians must come back, that would be the first priority and preference. But we know the magic will not happen. But certainly at least those who are in here must make a dent into this global neoliberal economy and politics. And although a handful of the Indians have achieved a great thing in USA, that's not the category we would appeal to, but we would appeal to category of you all, the students, activists, to continue the exchange as much as possible, although we are very poor in using the technology that effectively, although our colleagues do make a difference, but picking a thorn with a thorn, using that technology to question all that has come with that technology. To the extent we can, we must be exchanging information, but we also need direct inputs. Such as for Narmada, for example, the World Bank has withdrawn. So Dana and everyone was just saying that now how can the internationals question anything that is happening there far in the Narmada? Just as you questioned the Iraq war, you know, and everyone in every country questioned it, whether it was Italy or India. So I think these are the international issues, and the money, market, paradigms, visions that are against people, against nature are going into all this. So the stand can be taken, and here the World Bank has left behind a mess after withdrawal, although. So it is necessary that the people question it, and when Obama can go there and talk about India having a great place in the world and so on, and Ambedkar and Vivekananda and Gandhi and everyone having inspired him, these kinds of international flows and influences, as against their influences, their investments, should be welcome. So how can there be actions on various projects, various movements, linking with the movements, whether it is POSCO, whether it is Narmada, whether it is, anything else, Coca-Cola, before the embassies, before the World Banks, whichever is the concerned source, center where the influence must be brought in. I think that should be planned, and that is why this kind of group, as an alliance of movements and groups here, also I would appeal to you, should continue to meet. And if we know that you are meeting on this day after 15 days, we would send you all the movements from all sides the information. The National Alliance of People's Movements would like to link with the International Alliance of People's Struggles and Groups. Another thing, of course, is some experts to visit, who can also give specific inputs. We want to start a community radio in Narmada Valley. I was just saying it yesterday. Very desperately we feel for it. We have been thinking about it, to cover our hilly communities of Adivasis across 3 states, and our life schools of children, residential children. You can pick up the folders from there. How can we do it? Someone coming there, and we will help to go through the legal procedures, etc. But these kinds of specific requests by various movements who are in struggle and reconstruction can also come in. We built 2 microhydel plants, both got submerged. One was to be submerged, one was not to be submerged. It was 15 kV plant. We were taking our electricity across 4 kilometers radius. The Aid India's volunteers there in India, Ravi and Arvinda, helped us a lot. The engineers came from Kerala. The turbines were produced by some former Vice Chancellor, and it was a great contribution. 9 months the people in the communities worked through batches, through Shramadan, contributing their labor. And the land got drowned because the backwater levels have proved to be wrong in the case of Sardar Sarovar. The land which was not to be... Turbines are lying there, again to be repaired, again to be put in, it's beyond our capacities, beyond... If the people come and take that position of just catalytic agent, and we link the communities and we link ourselves with them, number of such constructive activities can also be furthered beyond whatever we can do, beyond retaining the land and conserving it through struggle. It can also have the solidarity messages, letters, like Dipti just drafted one today, and individuals can write letters. Don't think those go to the waste paper baskets. Those really matter. Narmada has really gained a lot through such kinds of interventions.